If you're on a growth journey or trying to stay consistent with your goals, you're in the right place. I gave myself 5 weeks to see if I could show up consistently for myself and make progress in the areas that matter most to me: my inspiration, my growth, my creativity. And here we are 5 weeks later. In this video, I'll share what worked, what didn't, and the real life lessons I've learned along the way. And spoiler alert, it's not just about self-discipline. It's about healing and self-compassion and becoming a woman who actually follows through. Hello, I'm Deborah, and this is Elevated Energy, where I help you heal, grow, and glow with mindset tools, practical strategies, and wellness ideas that can help you on your personal path of growth and evolution. So let's jump in. So this video is a wrap-up of my 5-week self-discipline project. And it's been such a journey, such a learning experience. So just to recap, my goals were exercise. I wanted to be more consistent with my exercise, and that included 2 times a week of HIIT workouts or calisthenics, something really challenging, and then 3 times a week of walking, yoga, Pilates, body work, that sort of thing. And so that's what I had focused on in terms of my exercise. My other goal was about content creation. It's something that I've always wanted to do, and so I used this project to challenge myself with content creation. I originally set a goal to have 1 blog and 1 video posted every week. But around week 2, I realized that I actually enjoyed creating the videos more than the blogs. So I revised my goal and switched from 1 blog and 1 video a week to 2 videos a week. Part of the project also included listening to 2 books that would support me in my journey of self-discipline. And the first book was No Excuses by Brian Tracy. It's called No Excuses, The Power of Self-Discipline. And the second book was The Now Habit by Neil Fiore. Both were really good. I've already done a couple videos on both, but I think there's a lot more to them that I can, in the future, do some more videos teasing out different aspects of the books and spending more time with them, because I think they really deserve that. So the reason why I chose these goals is because in terms of exercise, I really wanted to be more consistent. I realized that I had kind of slacked off quite a bit with my exercise routine, and I simply wasn't even aware of when I exercised and when I didn't. So I felt that doing a project and tracking it was going to be really helpful for me to understand what I was and wasn't doing. And in terms of the content creation, I chose that goal because it's something I've always wanted to do since I was in middle school. I wanted to be a journalist. And so I really wanted to write, create content, but I realized that I had a block around it. I had a lot of fear around it, really fear of failure, really wanting everything to be perfect. And so I was using this project to force me, to encourage me, rather, to just be consistent and break through, because I would have weekly deadlines. So what I did during the project was I used the Habit Now app and tracked my progress, tracked my activities. And in addition to that, I actually scheduled everything I needed to do. So I scheduled my workouts, I scheduled time to do filming, schedule time to edit and post the videos. And sometimes that changed from the plan I had in place, but I would just simply adjust my schedule and give myself the flexibility to do it. And as far as the books, I simply listened to these audiobooks while I was doing things, and I would actually pause to make notes and really highlight the things that really stood out to me as far as learnings. So as far as my progress and performance, as far as the exercise goal, I did fantastic. I got 90% overall in the 5 weeks for my HIIT workouts, my calisthenics, my more intense workouts. Those were only needed twice a week, and I met all my goals with those. When it came to the walking, the body rolling, body work, the yoga and Pilates, I got 90%. So still pretty good during that time. What I discovered is that I just really fell into the routine pretty quickly. I love and also want and need body work. So it wasn't that difficult for me to get back into the habit. But doing this project and having a focused goal around it really made that possible, because I had been trying to make myself, do it for weeks, and it wasn't happening. I would kind of start here, do a little there, but it wasn't being consistent. So this project really allowed me to get back into a pattern of being consistent. And where I am with the exercise now is that I've fallen into a routine where it really does feel automatic. At least 5 days a week, I am exercising usually first thing in the morning when I get up. Sometimes it varies depending on my schedule, but that's been my goal, and I've been pretty consistent with it. And I've been really pleasantly surprised how easily I came back into that routine and how much I really enjoy it, to the point where sometimes there are mornings when I wake up and I don't really feel like exercising, but I think about how good I'll feel if I do it and how I'll feel if I don't do it, like physically as well as emotionally and energetically. And so I just get up and do it. So the project has really worked in that sense to get me back into a routine, and I just fell in love with the routine of exercising again, and I'm so grateful because it put me right back on track and helped me build that consistency that I was going for. So as far as my content creation goal, I did pretty good. I mean, number one, the first thing I did that I have to celebrate is week 1 of this self-discipline project. I broke through my content creation block. It had been a block for years where I wanted to do it and just couldn't get myself to do it. But because of this project, week 1, I broke through it and found that I actually really loved it. Now, my overall success rate with content creation during this project was 79%. I did miss one posting where I was supposed to do 2 a week. And so that affected my overall average. What I found with all of the content creation work, that turned out to be a lot more challenging than consistent exercise. And what I realized was that I had a lot of emotional work to do around pursuing this goal, because lots of emotions came up, lots of fears came up, and it was really impossible to make progress towards my goal without actually addressing those issues. So in order to break through my content creation goal, I had to spend time journaling, reflecting, and doing parts work. These turned out to be really important components of me breaking through my fears that were creating the block around content creation. So I spent a lot of time doing that and really had to do it whenever it came up. Sometimes I would go to sit down and work on a video or an outline for a video, and I just felt such a struggle to even give it attention, to come up with things. I wanted to distract myself. I wanted to get up and do chores instead because it's easier. But what I showed myself through this project is that I really want this. I want to create positive content that shines a light to the world, that helps other people to feel better, to do better, to heal themselves, and to grow. And so on quite a few occasions, I was tired, it was late at night, I didn't really feel like working on things, but I made myself do it anyway. And so I'm really proud of myself because I built that trust with myself again. I realized that I can show up for myself and I can believe the things I say. I can make a promise to myself and keep it. And that's been huge. It's been really empowering because it's helping me to move forward and know that, oh, I can actually do the things that I've been dreaming of because I've shown myself that I can show up for myself even when it's not easy. And I'm proud of myself and celebrating because I put in the effort and it paid off. You know, it wasn't easy to do, but I did it. I created new habits for myself, and I used positive pressure of the deadlines of the project to encourage myself to meet the deadlines, learn the skills I needed to meet the deadlines instead of waiting months and doing tons of research and getting trapped in analysis paralysis. I actually went for it because I knew I had these deadlines and these goals that I wanted to meet. So it's been a really great journey in that sense, discovering that I can dig deep, I can work through difficult things, and I can make things happen for myself. And the 2 books I read were really a great accompaniment. They helped me to gain deeper understanding of myself and why I may do or not do certain things. They also offered lots of strategies, practices, exercises. And this last book, The Now Habit, really helped me to reframe procrastination, not doing things when I intend to do them, and understand how to do things differently and approach these tasks differently, and really support myself with self-compassion, because that's what it really takes to actually get these things done. So a couple of the surprises for me, one was like how quickly I really fell back into and fell in love with exercise again. My body loves exercise. I think all of our bodies really do love exercise and movement. It's part of vitality and strength and gives us energy. And so once I went through, I would say it was probably took 2 solid weeks for me to really start to like crave it again, make it part of my routine and not have to exert any kind of pressure on myself to do it. So that was a fantastic surprise. I thought I might go through the whole 5 weeks and still be struggling, but definitely not the case. I really caught on pretty quickly. The other thing that was a surprise to me is how the emotional work that frankly I didn't want to do really gave me access to more creative energy, more focus. I had been avoiding a lot of emotional work around some of the things that I wanted to do because I just wanted to get to it. I listened to a lot of books about self-discipline and habits, and I was like, if I can just make myself do it, be disciplined, check it off the list, that's all it takes. And I learned through that project that that's not the case. Sometimes you're able to muscle through, but eventually you're going to have to deal with the underlying issues, underlying feelings that might be creating the procrastination or the lack of progress. And so what I learned is that by actually spending time working through my emotions, something that I thought was not productive, I actually became more productive. And that has been a wonderful surprise, a great delight for me, because I can actually accomplish more if I take the time to reflect and journal and do some parts work, address my feelings, and that allows me to actually be more productive. So I had really believed that that was time that I could dedicate to working on myself and my emotions down the road after I finished a project. There's no time for that now. But the truth is, if I didn't do those things, I would be sitting there staring at the computer and struggling to work, to focus, looking for distractions. So taking the time out to address these feelings and issues has actually made me more productive and just freed up a ton of energy. I feel more creative. I feel more focused, more able to focus. And that's been such. I have also experienced some awesome mindset shifts. I initially started the project with an understanding that my language affected my mindset, but reading The Now Habit reconfirmed that, because in that book he spends a couple chapters talking about changing your language. And the key change here is moving from the idea of have to and should language to I choose to, I want to. And that's been, again, something that has given me access to more energy, because the language I had been using of have to and should to was creating an internal struggle. And there was energy going towards that struggle. So by changing my language and my mindset from have to I want to, I choose to, it's put my actions in alignment with my mindset, my beliefs, and my thinking, removing that internal struggle and freeing up energy to be more focused on my goals. The other mindset shift that I experienced is around self-compassion. Through this project and working through the blocks and the emotions, I came to recognize just how important self-compassion is, and that being kind to myself actually helps me be more productive, which was my goal. And so sometimes I think when we think of self-discipline and consistency, we feel like we're supposed to be hard on ourselves, give ourselves this external pressure, and that's going to make us perform better. If we suffer, if we make ourselves give ourselves a kick in the pants, that's going to make it better. And sometimes you need a kick in the pants, but a lot of the time it's self-compassion in a real focused way, in an intentional way, where you're actually having compassion for yourself so that you can actually recognize what you're feeling and therefore identify what you need to do to meet your emotional needs so you can move forward. And that's been a great mindset shift for me, to just really appreciate self-compassion and give it to myself without guilt, not feeling like I'm going easy on myself, but recognizing how it's actually much better for me in the long run. And the other mindset shift from this project that I'm so grateful for is it has really helped me to let go of my perfectionism. I have spent most of my life as a perfectionist, and it has really held me back in so many ways. So many things I have been afraid to do because I felt like they needed to be perfect, and if it wasn't lined up to be perfect, I shouldn't do it. But having these deadlines forced me to do things whether or not they were perfect. And I'm not sure that I would have done that so easily without this project and the goals and the deadlines. So I feel like I also broke through this block around perfectionism. I'm not saying it's never going to come up again, but I definitely don't feel this attachment to making everything perfect the way that I used to. I'm willing to take messy action, and I see how even with messy action, I can progress and improve and get closer and closer to perfection. But if I focus on perfection, then I will never even take the first step and start improving. So one of the turning points for me in this project was when I missed posting a second video for one of my weeks. And I really, that night, I was all set up to film the video, and I had prepared, but I was exhausted. I had a lot of other things happen that day. I really wasn't in the right energy for it. And I had self-compassion, and I recognized that I could do a much better job if I waited until the next day when I had fresh energy, when I was thinking more clearly. And that was hard for me because I can get so focused on the goal and meeting the goal. But that was a turning point for me because that's when self-compassion really came into play, and I used it to just direct understanding towards myself and recognize that, you know what, it's okay. It's okay to miss this one time. I have a great work ethic. I am willing to do whatever it takes, but circumstances have made it so that it's not going to be the best thing for me to do this right now, and I can actually do a better job if I wait till the next day. And so I did that, and that's kind of, I think, one of the first times that I've given myself that permission and didn't feel guilty about it. I just recognized it's a better scenario, it's a better situation, it's going to be better for me, and I'll produce something that's better. And I just gave myself that permission and didn't think twice about it, didn't feel guilty about it, just talked it through with myself and reasoned with myself prior to making the decision, but that really demonstrated a shift in my thinking, that I'm really integrating the idea of self-compassion into everything I do, including working towards my goals. So this project has helped me understand self-discipline very differently than when I started. In the beginning, I felt like it was all about creating a to-do list, a list of habits that I need to perform, and checking them off, doing them and checking them off. And what I've come to understand through this project is that self-discipline is actually a manifestation of the work that you do on yourself to achieve your goals. So you don't just become self-disciplined. You have to actually work on yourself to become self-disciplined, to exhibit those behaviors. In the book, The No Excuses, Brian Tracy talks about when you set a goal, you have to become the person who achieves that goal. So there's a gap. When you set a goal, there's a gap between where you are now and where you want to go. But it's not just a gap of tasks that need to be done. It's the gap of who you need to evolve and grow to be in order to achieve those goals. And that's what I really learned is like my personal growth, my emotional growth, my energetic health, all of those things come into play if I want to achieve my goals. I have to do all of that work in order to get to where I want to go. So one of the things I learned is that you can't compartmentalize your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions from the goal that you want to achieve. In reality, all those things are connected. You are a holistic system. You incorporate all these different aspects of yourself, and one thing affects many things. So in order to make progress towards your goals, you have to simultaneously be working on different aspects of yourself, working through your emotions, working through your beliefs and your mindset, all the while doing the actual practical steps towards your goals. So it's not a straightforward, easily linear path. It really takes work and focus. And that's something that I really learned through this. I recognize that it's the goals that I want don't just materialize. They are really the outcome of the work I do on myself to reach them. So now I have a much more holistic approach to self-discipline, to habit change, to working towards my goals. I recognize that I have to work on my whole self, not just some particular aspect of it that I want to change. So if you're thinking about undertaking a project, whether it's about self-discipline or something else, I highly encourage it. Having a focused time of concentrated effort and clear goals really makes a huge difference. You're able to make progress that you can't make if you just leave things open-ended. So I really encourage it, and I encourage you to enter into such a project with the idea that your goal is to make progress. It's not about perfection. So any improvement you make is going to be progress. And I feel like I've made a lot of improvement, a lot of progress. So my suggestion would be, if you're going to do a project like this, that one of the things to do is to journal, to track, whether it's use the Habit Now app or some other app, track your progress, journal, because that's the way to really, number one, know what you're really doing and not doing, but also when you take that time to reflect on what you're doing, even if all you're doing is recording the data in the app, it gives you a level of awareness and the opportunity to learn and grow from what you're seeing, the numbers you're seeing in terms of your performance. Like you can't lie to yourself. You can plainly see whether or not you completed a task. So I encourage you to actually journal, reflect on the emotions and the thoughts, and also track what you do. And be willing to take small steps. You don't have to undertake a big project. It could be something small, but it's an opportunity for growth, and it's an opportunity to encourage yourself and support yourself right? Rather than challenge, because I'm being conscious of the language, but support yourself to pursue and achieve some long desired goals. And that's what I did with this project. I wanted to do content creation forever. And this project allowed me the structure and the support to actually work towards those goals and achieve them. So my advice is to start small and be kind to yourself. So I'm really glad that I did this project, and I can see myself doing more projects in the future once I, become clear about what my goals might be around a particular project. And I invite you to ask yourself, what could 5 weeks of focused self-compassion, understanding, and self-discipline do for you? How would your life change if you gave yourself 5 weeks to focus on making some important change in your life? So, of course, now that I've started down this path, I definitely will be making more videos. I have a lot of experience to share and strategies and things that have worked for me that I've learned from other places or picked up myself. And so I'm looking forward to sharing those in future videos. I also really love reading a book and sharing my takeaways, because I get so much more out of the book when I know that I'm going to be sharing takeaways. I pay really deep attention. I integrate the learning more. So that's something I'll be doing as well. So if you're someone that's starting fresh or shifting into a new season of your life, or just been feeling stuck, I hope that this video and this series around my self-discipline project gives you a little spark to increase your motivation and take a chance on yourself, invest in yourself, so that you can build trust and confidence in yourself and your ability to follow through with the things that you want. You don't have to do it alone. If this spoke to you, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe, because it helps other people find this kind of soul-centered content. And if you are on your own growth journey, I'd love to hear from you. Please drop a comment and tell me what is one area of your life where you'd like to show up more consistently. And if you want more content around healing, motivation, and purpose-driven living, please like and subscribe. I'm just getting started. Until next time, keep showing up for you. Heal, grow, and glow.